Hey guys, welcome back to the first battle report for Buckeye's Battle 2024. Really fun game, super happy to be here. I'm gonna move on to the mission now. So the mission is hidden deployment. There was a huge cardboard structure dividing the table, so you could not see where your opponent was deploying. So it made things really interesting. I really did like it. But the goal of the mission was to basically hunt down banners. Three of them you nominated, and you would get additional victory points. You can pause the video if you want to see it in more detail. So moving on to Todd's deployment, once we revealed everything, his left flank had 2 units of 5 Sisters of Avalorn and a High Elf Noble BSB mounted on the Skycutter Chariot. He had the War Banner and the Seed of Rebirth. Moving on, he had a bolt thrower with this flank, and now he had his high elf prince, who had, I believe, the Talisman of Protection, the Seed of Rebirth, 2 opal amulets, the dragon helm, and one other thing I'm forgetting, but it'll be in the photo. Moving along, he has a level 4 Archmage who has the Seed of Rebirth, Silvery Wand, Ruby Ring of Ruin, and the Pure of Heart. Then he has a unit of Phoenix Guard, I believe 20 some strong, and a large unit of Lothern Sea Guard. Then he heads towards the right flank, a unit of 10 plus archers, his second bolt thrower, and the last Sisters of Avalorn. On my right flank, I have 5 Nurglings, a unit of 5 Flamers. The Exalted Flamer in the unit is upgraded to be a level 2. Then I have a Tzeentch Herald on a Burning Chariot. So this guy has a lot of upgrades. He's level 3, and he has Twin Heads for another spell, and the Iridescent Corona for -1 to shoot. Then I also have, for the level 1 on the Chariot, the Power Vortex, which is -1 for casting for the enemy wizards. Moving towards the center, I have my large 20-man block of Plaguebearers, who has my Nurgle Herald Champion. He is the general, and he has the Trappings of Nurgle, which gives him a 4-up armor save, and Death Heads. Then I have my BSB. He has a lot of upgrades too. He has the Spoiled Pox Scrivener, which allows him to give Nurgle units rerolling 1s to hit in combat. He has Death Heads, which is a shooting attack. Then he has the Demonic Locust BSB. That's the Totem of Eternal War, which minuses D3 additional for crumbling for demonic instability. Then I got, next to the Plaguebearer unit, 2 Beasts of Nurgle, a unit of 6 Nurgle Furies, 3 more Flamers with just a Pyrocaster. Then atop the hill, I have a unit of 10 Blue Horrors, 2 more Beasts, 6 more Furies, 2 Brimstones, and another Burning Chariot of Tzeentch. So here is a quick overview of the whole table and the battlefield. All of the terrain is actually just difficult terrain, and that building's supposed to be a tower, but we pretty much played it as impassable. And before the game started, both my Chaos Furies did a Vanguard move. And if you notice the top, there's a side note. I kind of forgot to take photos of the spells that both Todd and I rolled up, but I do remember when key spells affected the game, so I do apologize. Moving forward, I'll try to take photos and write down all the spells we got. But yeah, nothing more to say on that. I do apologize about that, so I might feel a little bit out of place. But here is also the second unit of Furies. I decided to move them closer, as I decided I wanted them to help the Furies take out the right flank Sister of Avalon and Bolt Thrower unit. And during the deployment, I kind of forgot Todd also had a small unit of 5 archers deployed like so. He did go first, if I recall. So they marched up. Then the Skycutter Chariot got into a better position. The Sisters, I think, slightly shuffled just to get a better range of shooting. And his Dragon Noble moved up with the rest of the force, as you can see. After some shooting, I did lose 3 wounds to my flamer unit. And this dice roll, it must have been one of my other units. It was just an unbelievable roll for the ward saves. Todd was laughing because I kept rolling 5-ups, so I couldn't help but take some photos. And one of my Fury units lost a dude to shooting. Another wound was taken off from the second unit of Flamers. And this unit, I believe, took a nasty fireball, or the sisters managed to just shoot them due to fire magical attacks. I get no ward save. Onto demons turn 1. My Nurglings and the Flamers and Burning Chariot all moved up. I did manage to get Plague of Rust off of the Skycutter Chariot with the goal of hopefully bursting him through all of the shooting I have. For my main center, the Plague Bearer unit and Beast of Nurgle slightly shuffled up. I'm not quite comfortable fully going forward yet because his Dragon, Phoenix Guard, and Lothran Sea Guard are directly in front of me. So I was trying to see if the first 2 turns of shooting would whittle them down, then I would be more aggressive. Onto my left flank, the Beast of Nurgle moved or marched their full 10. The Burning Chariot also moved. I had the last 2 Furies aggressively fly up. Hopefully they can survive one more turn of shooting. The Brimstones and other unit Fury are also going. Pretty much the goal is to throw all of this, knock out that corner, and wrap around back to the center. And looking down here, you can see the other unit of Flamers moved up, and the Blue Horrors slightly shuffled up. Essentially, the game plan now was to get all of these skirmishing units and the Beast to push through his 1 Bolt Thrower and Sisters of Avalorn, and then wrap around back towards the center, mainly because I believe my right flank is really weak, especially with the Skycutter right in front of them. So that was the thought process I had with all of the positioning. Onto my shooting, with the Demonic Herald on Burning Chariot and my 4 Flamers, we managed to only do 4 wounds to the Skycutter Chariot. That's with all of the D3 shots, the Blue Horror shots, and I managed to put the Elemental Vortex from Elementalism right in front of it. It was a little bit disappointing because with the amount of shots I got, I was planning to burst him. So the game plan was to remove the Skycutter, pull back, and bait the dragon a bit more. But because he lived, that completely changed my game plan. I didn't expect him to live through all of that, with the idea of the Vortex trying to deter him from moving. So here's just a quick picture of the positioning of the Vortex. So the idea is if he wants to go through it, he'll be taking, I think it's like D3 plus some amount of strength 3 or 4 hits, and then he'll take a dangerous terrain test. So either he stays put or he goes through it. Either way, I just don't want him to move any further, just so I have one more turn to take him off the board. So turn 2, Todd decided to charge with his Dragon Noble and into the Nurglings, which I kind of expected. So hopefully the idea is for them to hold him, as that unit has 35 wounds. So from all of my games, they take a lot for them to actually pop through combat resolution. And as you can see from the photo, Todd actually did decide to push the Skycutter Chariot back. I kind of didn't expect that because I forgot how fast they can move. Then the Phoenix Guard moved up with the Lothran Sea Guard, I believe only half moving if I'm not mistaken. So nothing too crazy with that movement phase. And onto his shooting / magic. I believe his level 4 did a Wind Blast onto my beast, pushing them back, and did 2 wounds. Then the Lothran Sea Guard shooting nicked off a wound off of the Burning Chariot. So I definitely have to cut the distance or I'm going to lose both of them to magic. And for this, I made an insane roll for combat with the Nurglings. What you just saw was the saves I made. I took a single wound, and after combat resolution, I took 1 more. So they managed to actually tank the High Elf Dragon. Onto my next turn, the Flamers and the Demonic Herald on Burning Chariot both moved up. I did remove the vortex as I didn't want to hurt myself in case it moved too close. So the idea now is to definitely kill the Sky Cutter. My game plan has completely changed because, again, I expected him to be dead, so I feel like I'm wasting more shots into a unit that, in theory, should be dead. So it feels like I'm not hurting the sisters, which was the ideal target. I'm just looking for points because at this stage of the game, I'm a little bit nervous, just due to basically I've killed nothing yet, so I gotta get some points somehow. So for this portion of the recap, I guess I was so into the game, I completely forgot to take photos, but I'll try to describe it. Basically, the Sisters of Avalorn, um, I don't know what happened actually. I think either the Furies charged them, they ran back, then the two Furies charged the bolt thrower and it died. So I reformed or overran. Basically, that flank died, which was the goal I wanted. So I apologize about that. Looking at the photos, I'm surprised. I think I was too caught up in the game. So on to Todd's next turn. I forgot to mention, after he beat the Nurglings, he actually didn't follow up. He passed his leadership and reformed and put his facing towards my burning chariot. The reason I'm so out of position was during my turn I failed to cast the pathway spell from elementalism. The idea was to move the Plaguebearer block in between us because I knew I was out of position. I didn't get it off, so at this point, I knew I had a big misplay and that the chariot is about to die to the dragon. The rest of Todd's turn, I think we were so focused on the chariot fight. Again, no, not too many photos, but the Sky Cutter didn't move, the whole army shot, a couple wounds were taken off. Now, straight to the combat, chariot blew up, giving him 425 points, which I felt like swung the game. I have to now try to get some points. I can't be too cautious, so things are looking quite bad for my army. Onto my turn. As you can see from the photo, the Sky Cutter is finally dead. I had a huge decision to make. My single lone flamer, the level 2 Exalted, was the only remaining flamer after all of his shots the previous turn. So my gamble was, do I stay still and shoot, killing the Sky Cutter, or do I hide behind the building and try to save some points and then keep my spell? Long story short, at the end, I made the hard decision for the gamble. I shot and actually killed the Sky Cutter, but that also means next turn Todd's going to shoot him with one of the sisters unit, removing my level 2 caster who had illusion, which also means I am down a lot of magic. I lost my level 3, I lost my level 1, and my level 2, so things are looking very bad on that flank. So on to the other side of the table, where I finally took some photos. The other unit of Furies killed the sisters. My burning chariot moved up. The lone Fury and 2 brimstones are getting closer. The idea now is to try to get any points I can, try to remove a banner. So this flanking force has to kill this archer unit because, as you can tell, my right flank completely folded. I just have half a unit of Nurglings, my beast, and my plague bearers left. On to Todd's next turn. The Phoenix Guard moved up, and I believe the 2 Sisters of Avalorn units didn't move just so they can shoot the targets they want. The dragon still has the Miasmic Mirage, so he can't charge. And pretty straightforward, onto his magic and shooting, he absolutely blew up my Beast of Nurgle unit. He rolled a 12 for his fireball and rolled 8 wounds, killing the whole unit, so I'm definitely panicking at this moment in the game. On to my next turn. Honestly, things are looking extremely bad. The Mirage worn off, so ignore the card. My Nurglings just moved a little bit, trying to cover the side of the Plague Bearers, and my Plague Bearers didn't really move. My flanking force had a horrible luck. I declared a charge on the archers. Todd opted to flee, and they bounced through his whole army, leaving my guys out in the open. So honestly, my game plan is completely gone. I'm shifting from getting points to saving whatever I have left on the table. On to Todd's turn. His Lothran Sea Guard reformed, getting ready to shoot my whole flanking force. Phoenix Guard moved up. You can see where the archers ended up rallying. And of course, Todd got his Dragon Prince to charge the Nurglings who are defending the Plaguebearer flank. Again, the only hope I have is to feed him the Nurglings and to save all the points for my Plaguebearers. And on to my next turn. What do you know? My whole army is pulling back. The game plan shifted from getting points to saving whatever I have left. I know it's going to be a loss for me, but I'm trying to mitigate it just so I can still get points on the table. There's no real reason to throw all these guys to their death. And you can see my lone beast, my lone gargoyle, my one remaining flamer is also fleeing for their life. So in this event, you do get half points. So I'm just trying to save whatever I can. So you can see my Plaguebearer block moved a little bit down. My Nurglings are still alive, keeping the Dragon Prince at bay. I'm trying to move just enough so if Todd does delete the unit, if he were to overrun, he wouldn't touch my unit. So that's the goal. And just to show it again, this is after combat. I do push back, and you can clearly tell I'm no longer in his overrun charge. So this photo will be just the recap. What happened was all the units you saw previously actually all lived. I ran even further down the table edge, and with Todd destroying my Nurgling, as you can tell, he's right in front of my Plaguebearer block. So the game did end up being a 18-10, so Todd got a really good win. I still had my 2 banners, or technically 1 banner, but because I didn't get any of his, I got no points. Because I'm also down 2 banners, I automatically give Todd more victory points. So the win goes to Todd and the High Elves. It was a really good game. I still had about 1,100 points on the table, so it felt good. I learned a lot that I'll use for the next game. Okay, we wrapped up the first game, and Todd won. It was a 18-point High Elves to 10-point Chaos Demons. A really, really fun game. Todd's actually over there right now. But I took a lot of photos, so there'll be a battle report coming soon. And I'm going to show you the army he took. It looked really, really good. So here is Todd's beautiful High Elf army. So it was a fantastic game, especially because, you know, the army looks absolutely amazing. So here is his army.